All right, good morning, baseball fans, and welcome to the end of the season. The season is over. We had a crazy day yesterday. Some sad fans, some happy fans, but now it is time to begin to look forward to playoff time. Now, a couple of updates. Couple of updates on the show coming up this week. So playoffs start tomorrow. And you're going to see, at least for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you're going to see 2 shows a day. You're going to see Baseball and Coffee, and you're going to see Baseball After Dark. I think this makes the most sense. It allows us to watch a lot of what's taking place within the games and then recap a little bit in the mornings, but mostly get ready for those nights so we can do a little more previewing. That's kind of how today will work as well. I'm not going to do obviously a show tonight because there's no games tonight, but we'll preview a little bit today, and we'll think a little bit about this. So there should be a lot of good stuff to talk about. I hope you're enjoying this, and if you are, it's good news for you because you'll probably see a lot more of me. I'm going to power through and find a way to do as much of this as possible. Now the question is, can we find? I'm going to get over here to the main screen because now, guess what? Our standings don't matter anymore. It's all about finding the MLB playoff bracket. Let's see if we can find that. There it is. So here it is. Here's the bracket as we stand today. 4 series kick off tomorrow. Tigers Guardians, who have played each other a crap load lately, will reunite again in Cleveland, where they just played a couple days ago. Oh, hi Archie. Good morning. Bye-bye. I love you. Okay, go have a good day. And then we got Yankees Red Sox, of course, which is super exciting. In the Bronx. I don't think it's quite the same home field that it used to be in the old stadium, but we still have that. Then the night games will be Reds at Dodgers. Reds kind of sneaking their way in there, more so because the Mets let them get in there. But nevertheless, they're there, and they do have a couple starters that can match up well against LA, so it's not a slam dunk LA win there. And then we have the Padres visiting the Cubs in Wrigley, and that should be a fun series. So we'll get into all of that, but what you should know about the night stream, the Baseball After Dark streams, is I'm going to talk to MLB today and figure out exactly the timing, but it's probably going to be 9-ish. That way we come on at the end of Yankees Red Sox, because if we go, see if we can find the schedule. The TV sketch. If we come on at the end of, here we go. So like if I come on towards the end of Red Sox Yankees, that allows us to watch all of the first 3 games while this Dodger Reds game is starting, and then we can get in there a little bit. I'm not going to probably stream the entire game, but I'll stream, probably half that game, if not more. And if it's compelling, maybe we'll stay up and finish it. But that's what I'm thinking for each day. Do more Baseball and Coffee in the morning, 10 o'clock, like normal. And then I think from there, Baseball After Dark, probably 9, maybe 8:30. We'll see what the powers that be think. But that's kind of the schedule that I'm thinking for now. All right, so let's go get in the chat for a second. We have a little bit of talk going on here. I'm sorry for the Met fans. I know this is a tough day. It sucks for me too. I really wanted the Mets in because I really wanted to, watch a team that I know a lot about in the playoffs, and I wanted them to run it back. I felt like we got something maybe prematurely started up again last year, and it's kind of a shame that it went the way it went this year, and it's kind of hard to figure it out. I've been reading some athletic articles trying to figure out at least how the people that are around the team every day are covering it and what they think, but yeah, crazy. Can I start off by saying that if Judge doesn't win MVP, it's clear to say home run outweighs everything else? I don't think that's totally true, Ray, because we're also taking the catcher stuff into effect. And I've been thinking a little bit. I think today I might take a little time to go ahead and make my major award picks. Not that they matter. I don't have a vote, but for fun, just for debate. Yep, the GOAT 1, 2, 3, depressed Met fans unite. I'm sorry, guys. I hope you guys don't give up on baseball totally at this point because there's going to be a lot of good baseball to come. I know that it's not, with your team in it, which obviously stinks. But at the same time, this is very exciting baseball time. There's going to be really good baseball the rest of the way. And, hopefully if you're here, you're the type of fan that, was willing to watch it pretty much no matter what. So we'll see. Marlins posing for a team pick is savage. I didn't understand that whole thing. Like, what was the point of that? What was the point of that? Curse of Buckner, we'll never be happy again. So now the Mets have a reverse curse. Fortunate in 86, and now it's reversed. And now it's on the Mets. I don't agree. I think the Mets will be happy again. I mean, obviously they do things in a very Metsy way. There's no doubt about that. Having the door left open from the Reds there and then not walking through it. It's very Mets at the end of the day. All right, what else we got here? 829 OPS last 20 games. Is that for Judgy? Oh, because we're talking about Judge in the playoffs. Yeah, people are saying, well, he dropped the ball again. Yeah, I mean, look, it's tough because he doesn't. It's a lot comes down to when you look at the Yankee lineup, the people right in front of him and the people right behind him. I know he had Soto behind him last year or in front of him last year, whichever way they worked that, and that was great. But, it comes down to the guys like Bellinger, Rice, Chisholm, people like that. They make a big difference. And guys like Grisham getting on for Judge changes his at-bats as well. My favorite to win it all right now is the Phillies. I know that's probably not what most people have, but I do think that they're the most complete team even without Wheeler. And their road is interesting because they will get the 5-game series against the Dodgers if it is the Dodgers, and I think in a way that's good because I think the Dodgers starting pitching might be a little deeper now. They might go 4 or 5 deep now. I don't know. Maybe their relief corps can't handle the long series, but I like a 5-game series with 3 of the games in Philly for that second round, and then I just think they have the best team and they've had the most chances through it. So maybe I'm a little crazy to say that, but as of right now, I have them as my favorite. In the American League, I think it's crazy because Seattle's got the great pitching, but you can't count out any of these AL East teams, and they're going to duke it out, and one of them's going to end up in the ALCS, whether it's Toronto, or Boston or New York. So I don't know. I pretty much count out the AL Central teams. Maybe that's wrong for me, but I count them out. I think they're going to go head-to-head, beat each other up, and I think Seattle takes care of one of those teams. But obviously, I can be proven wrong. All right, what else we got here? Who do you have? As a Mets fan, I'm honestly not as sad as I thought I'd be. This team deserved it. Yeah, I will say this about the Mets situation really quick as we get started with today. Be very wary of the season where you're too good too soon. Like, the team was not supposed to compete in 2024. It was a coin flip season. I knew that when I signed back after I had opted out and I signed it back. I knew it was a coin flip season. Could have went either way. Ended up catching Magic and Lightning in a bottle and rode it all the way to the NLCS. They go ahead and they sign Juan Soto. They bring back Pete. They make a couple other complimentary moves. But ultimately, I think the team might have been a little overconfident, especially out of the start they got out of the gate this year. Off the start they got out of the gate this year, and I think that reared its head a little bit because adversity is coming, and you have to be prepared for it, and you have to be covered in all areas. And this reminds me a little bit of the 21 Red Sox. We got there a little bit ahead of schedule, and then the team kind of hasn't been back to the playoffs since. So, people got fired over that. Heim ended up getting let go, going somewhere else. The whole organization reshuffled. But all through that, in the background, there was a farm system brewing. That's the same thing with the Mets. The Mets have the number one farm system in the game. So there's happy times coming. But I think this season was one of those. Assuming that it was going to be a great season was just that. It was just an assumption that realistically you have to earn it every day in the big leagues. And with expanded playoffs, to have this payroll with an expanded playoff team field, and to not get in when the barrier for entry this year was so low. Like, what's the final record this year was that gets you into the playoffs? Well, they ended up with 83 wins. So it was 83 wins and a tiebreaker gets you in. I mean, 84 wins is not too much to ask, I don't think, from the Mets team. My thoughts on Pete opting out. Of course, he's going to opt out. He had a better year than last year. He's not going to do this one year, opt in, opt out thing every year. I think he's hoping for a long-term deal from a team that's going to pay him a lot of money and value him. I have no idea if that will work out this year. I also think the big thing that he's thinking and banking on a little bit is he doesn't have a qualifying offer coming through this year, which definitely weighs down a lot of these top free agents markets. So I don't know. He's going to get another run at it, and we will see. And we will see how that goes. It'll be very, very interesting. Jay's fan here. Canada's stoked. I can imagine that. Rogers Center. I love the fact that they put the hammer down yesterday and outright won the division when the Yankees swept the whole way through. So big credit for the Blue Jays for putting the hammer down the whole way. They went Gosman. They earned themselves that bye. And now they'll play the winner of that series, Yankees-Red Sox. And they'll have the home field advantage. And that Toronto home field crowd is very good. Very, very good. Padres Yankees World Series prediction circa 98. Wow, okay. Interesting prediction there. Joe C's apologizing for the Marlins. Maybe just wanted a team photo because players leaving, etc., etc. I agree. It's just one of those things where the Mets and their fans probably shouldn't be looking at what the Marlins are doing after that. They should be probably turning off the TV and, looking for the football game or trying to get away from it a little bit, to be honest. Maya, it just took everything going wrong for the Mets. Every single pitcher had to collapse to the worst in their career levels. It's true. It took an awful lot. It took a lot to collapse, and yet it happened. So it's really, really sad. I prefer this to both the Mets and the Reds winning because at least this way it's their fault. It sure is, and it's very Mets that the door was left open. At first the Reds had a 2-0 lead yesterday. Obviously, I'm watching these games. Milwaukee takes the lead. I'm like, ooh, Mets can make a comeback here. But to go 0 for 80 after the 8th inning when trailing is actually hard to do. So there's a lot of amazing stats when you look at the Mets. And there's a little bit of a clamoring here for Stearns to buy some more pitchers instead of experimenting with some guys. And honestly, to be fair, Kaneshwar, Clay Holmes worked out just great. That was a great gambit. Frankie Montas, I just don't think you know ball if you sign Frankie Montas to that much. I'm sorry. I think you just don't watch baseball. You're looking at spreadsheets or something. I don't really get it. And then, Manaea, I think there's injuries there. You can't really prepare for an Achilles injury like Canning, but they also blew out a ton of their pitchers and guys got hurt and they didn't have as much depth as they wanted down the road, and they were not in the Max Fried business. They were not in the Corbin Burns business. That wouldn't have helped them either. He got hurt. But I don't know. It's a philosophy thing. Stearns obviously, and I still believe in this philosophy generally, pay the position players, shuffle through the pitchers, but you're going to have to find some pitchers in that shuffle through group that become real dudes in the season, like a Reed Garrett from 2 years ago. And where did that happen? That did not happen this year. They didn't have one player that became a dude this year off the scrap heap. So that kind of was the undoing with them as well. Jaden would like to see a Reds upset. I think there's a lot of Dodger haters that would like to see that as well. And you know what? It's a puncher's chance. Hunter Green, Andrew Abbott. Who's the third starter? I'm forgetting, but they have some good starters. So they have a shot at this thing. Lodolo. They got a shot at this thing if they can outpitch those Dodger guys and really shut down that lineup. This year is what the Mets expected last season. They didn't expect to choke it away or crumble like the way they did this year, but last season was a coin flip. All right, we got still some more stuff in here before we switch over. Respectfully so, to me, the Mets were the Clippers of baseball. I understand that, it's similar, like, the Yankees are the big brother. I think that dynamic is changing, but, if you're a Yankee fan and you don't want that dynamic to feel like it's switched, this is your day that you're jumping on Mets graves, you're stomping on their graves, you got your bragging rights out. Because who knows, Yankees could be out in 3 days, so enjoy it while you can right now, and, we'll see. Do you think if Savage gets a start in the ALDS, would you pick him over Scherzer? Oof. Right now, I'd be tempted to pick him over Scherzer. Max has been really, really rough lately. Okay, let's go dig into some of the recent stuff. So Scherzer ends this year with a 5.19. Most of that is on the strength of some really rough recent games. So let me see if I can find that real quick. And I don't want to get too excited and be like, oh, Savage can just do it all right away. But I feel like it's a little bit of a liability to throw Max, given the way his results have been lately. I mean, here's his last 5 starts. 4 earned in 4 innings versus Milwaukee. 4 earned in 4 1/3 at Yankees. 2 earned in 5 versus Baltimore. 7 earned in 2/3 of an inning at Kansas City in a game that they kind of needed. And then Red Sox, who is a team they might be facing, 5 innings, no walks, 5 strikeouts. All those runs came early in that game, so he's got a chance. I don't know. He looked a little better in the last few innings, but then Savage has only made 3 starts for the club, and they have gone. They have gone like this: 5 innings, no runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. That was in the big game 2 days ago. And then he lost to the Royals, where we saw there was actually a overturned call that kind of screwed him. So it should have been 3 runs in 4 games. And then he had the big debut where he looked amazing. I don't know. He's got a 2.35 FIP. That speaks well. I think they'll use him. I don't know if he's going to get the nod over Max or not. It's a tough call. You're going with the wily veteran, or you're going with the new toy, right? You're going with the new toy. Curious to see just some stuff metrics, because a lot of times these teams are hyper analytical in terms of stuff preferences when it comes down to the playoffs. So I'm just curious. Has him across the board above average. 100 on the fastball, 121 on the splitter, 102 on the slider. So stuff's good. That passes the eye test as well. I don't know. So clearly it's going to be who? Gausman and Bieber? Is that the clear first 2 guys for the Jays? Or is there somebody that I'm forgetting here? Yeah, I know that the defense screwed up Savage's number a little bit in that second game. So I agree. I think if you're riding recent performance, and that's what you got to do in this moment, you don't shy away from hot or cold. I think you probably start Savage over Scherz. Bassett's not ready. They already kicked Berrios out. So it's going to be Gausman, Bieber, Savage, I would guess. Yeah, it's hard to justify Max over those last 5 starts, and really the whole year. If you look at it, this isn't vintage Max Scherzer. Too many barrels. He's too hittable. Not getting as many whiffs. I mean, this is one of the greatest strikeout pitchers in the history of baseball. So it's not the same player, though, at the moment. I got to think that thumb is still bugging him. But, yeah, I would run Gausman, Bieber, Savage, I think, out there. And a nice feather in the cap, too, is neither the Red Sox nor the Yankees have seen Savage yet. So I think that's a good thing. Okay, so that's getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. So the Jays get to kick their feet up and watch what we're going on. All right, here we go. I would like to look at some of the playoff, some of the free agents as well once we get to talking about the offseason stuff, because we're going to have a long offseason to talk about all that. But I think now what we should do is, I don't know, if there's anything that we want to recap from yesterday game-wise, anything that you guys thought was exciting or important, maybe we could watch Alejandro Kirk hit his grand slam or a little bit of the Blue Jays rally. We can certainly do that, but I also want to get ahead a little bit of these matchups, and I want to watch Crochet pitch against some of the key Yankee hitters so we can get an idea of what those matchups have looked like coming in, and Fried on the other side against some of these Red Sox hitters, so I can get an idea of kind of the lay of the land headed into that series, as well as other big matchups like some Padre Cubs stuff, some Reds Dodger stuff, Tigers and Cleveland. I mean, these teams have played each other a lot. I feel like that's a little bit of a crapshoot, although Cleveland has won the season series quite a bit. Quite a bit. Yeah, I believe Cease, Michael King are two big starting pitching free agents. I'm not sure who else. Nolan McLean and Clay Holmes have been the only pitchers who were great. Senga doesn't give me confidence. Frankie Montas failed, and I don't know what happened to Manaea. I think Manaea was hurt, honestly. I really do. Everybody wants to hone in on that arm angle thing last year as a positive, but I also look at it as a little bit of a red flag, like making a drastic change mid-season. It worked. He rode it all the way, but there's going to be downstream effects for a huge change combined with your biggest workload you've ever had at the same time, and I think we saw that. The elbow gave out a little bit with some bone spurring. The oblique gave out in spring. He just never got his feet under him. And I think that was a big deal. All right, so we do have some stuff to check in on yesterday before we get into some of the new stuff. So let's head over to the Dugout app. Thank you, Spectre, for hitting me with some things. First, let's look at the Blue Jays, because the Blue Jays won their first division title since 2015 yesterday. Getting the job done. I believe they played Tampa, right? Yeah. And Gosman ended up pitching 85 pitches, only 4 innings, which ended up working out well because they scored. They scored pretty good in this game, to say the least. So let's go over and see how this rally happened. It was a first inning grand slam that got the game started. George Springer comes out the gate, draws an immediate walk out of Seymour. And this sucks for anybody who pitches on the last day of the season and they maybe like where their numbers are. And then you go out and have a crazy bad game on the last day of the season, and then you have to sit on that for 5-6 months. Not a good feeling. I always hated giving up runs at the very end of the season. I felt like, it was unfair. It hurt me a lot. So then Vlad, little jam job single. And the Blue Jay offense, which has been really, really good this year, got it going early here. Vlad shooting the other way, getting jammed, kind of beating it to the right. And then that sets up Santander strikes out. Be curious to see how this guy looks in the playoffs. He's a big X factor because we got nothing out of him this year. But Tony's a good hitter, man. Especially from the left side. When he's locked in, he kills changeups. He kills balls down. He's good on fastballs too. He's a big X factor because they've had a good offense without him, and they signed him. And he's got a lot of pop, as we know. So then Varsho came up. He got a hit. This is pretty bad defense out there. I feel like he got a pretty bad jump on that. Did he back up on this ball off the bat? No, just not a great read. Doesn't sell out for it. Lets it drop in. What do you want me to do? Dive for it? And now Alejandro Kirk 7-pitch. So let's watch it. This guy's been a freaking stud all year, and he had another huge moment here. He had some huge moments this whole homestand. All right, change up 1-1.
Swings through a pitch up above.
Fastball up.
Guerrero at second, Varsho at first, 1 out. Way up and away.
Yeah, Action Entertainment was at the Yankee game looking up the scoreboard, saw the Jays were up big, so it felt like looking at a death beam. Yeah, because then that game didn't matter. Yankees had to push. They pushed the whole way. They did a really good job. They should feel good about themselves for sure, the way they've played the last 2 weeks. And if you're looking for a team peaking at the right time, it could be the Yankees. Okay, so he ends up getting to 2-2. He fouls off 2 pitches. What does he foul off? He fouls off this cutter. Sorry, I was talking, so I wasn't watching. High cutter, foul ball. Tried to play the 4-seam off that. If you're under my cutter, you should be under my 4-seam, but he doesn't throw it as high, so he's able to hang on to that. Now he goes changeup, and then kaboom. You pull the changeup middle in, and you lose that baseball. 102.7, 25 degrees. Grand slam. Huge moment in Toronto as they take an early 5-1 lead in the first. They never really looked back. You can see the crowd's electric. That's what we have to look forward to in the playoffs. I mean, shoot, everybody remembers the Batista bat flip, the craziness that happened in that series, Texas versus the Blue Jays. We're in for that. These Canadian fans have been starving for this for a while now, and they finally got it. I'm really happy for them, honestly. You know, being a Yankee guy, of course, you know, Yankees winning the division would have been nice for my chances at getting a World Series ring this year, but I'm also really happy for the Blue Jays. And I can't help but have a little nostalgia back to the 92, 93, or is it 91, 92? I think it's 92, 93 Toronto Blue Jay team. That was like one of the first great teams, truly great teams that I was aware of growing up. You know, Devon White, Roberto Alomar, Candy Maldonado, Paul Molitor, obviously Joe Carter, Dave Stewart was on that team. Look at Kirk doing it again. 102-1, similar to his homer before. Guy's been a machine. At this point, it was 5-4, so they did let him creep back in a little bit. And then they put it out of reach again when Kirk comes to the plate again for a 6-pitch at bat, this time versus Uceta. And this is a tough matchup for any righty. Just slinging that thing. Yeah, 92, 93, Blump God. Thanks for the comment. Yeah, I mean, the old school Blue Jay jerseys, they had a squad. Roberto Alomar, Tony Fernandez, Ed Sprague, Pat Borders. Was Jack Morris on the team too? I mean, Tom Henke closing it out with the glasses. Devon White was a 6th center fielder. They were really, really good. That's the first elite team I was aware of. And this is before the Yankee dynasty. So the Blue Jays were like it for me for a little while back when this place was called Sky Dome. All right, it's the second home run of the day. And here it comes on a changeup. Oh, goes down and gets it a little bit and pumps it to center. 107-2 for his 3rd extra base hit of the day, his 2nd homer. This guy's dead hot, and that's Uceta. That's what I'm talking about. Giving up runs on the last day of the season sucks. Any way you want to look at it. This crowd freaking juiced for the Jays. Beautiful, too. The roof open on a nice day in September. This would have been a great day to be at the yard. Kirk blowing kisses to the crowd. It's freaking beautiful. Hold on. Let's watch him from first base side. Let's watch how he stays through this ball. Oh, that's a take. Sorry. Stays through it. Look how his weight continues over towards first. There's no pull off here. You see that? The stagger? He staggers towards the plate. Telling me that he does a really good job of actually putting on the brakes in his rotation that generates that force out front. So, really nice. And you can see it from the broadcast cam as well. Watch how he staggers a little bit. Yeah, that's a good swing. Not a bad thing at all. Your energy is going the right direction. That's the way you're going to be able to hit a ball out to dead center or to right center. Yep, Jimmy Key, my father chimes in. Of course, we love Jimmy Key. Juan Guzman might have been on the squad. Just a nasty team. So that was a big homer, and I think they kept making it. They kept packing on. Addison Barger here, who's been pretty bad in the second half, but he was pretty good in the first half. So he contributed big time, and when he gets into one, he gets into one. My goodness. 108.9, way into the Toronto crowd. And it was a Blue Jay party. Blue Jay party. Baker gets clipped here by Springer. I mean, they really put on offensive hurting on the Rays in this game and definitely put some guys back on their flight back to Tampa in a bad mood. Springer putting the bow on a great regular season for him with an Oppo homer here. He ends up with 32 homers. So just a great game all around for the Jays. Here's how they finish it out. Lauer. First division title since 15. Yep, Dave Stieb. Was he still there in 92, 93? I mean, he was a long-time Jay. He's like a borderline Hall of Famer that never got any credit. Man, look at the joy. Look at the joy right here. This reminds me a little bit of Todd Helton when the Rockies finally made it to the World Series. Just that elation, just that we've worked so hard for this. You gotta love that from Vlad. So, big-time stuff from the Jays. That's the first thing that I wanted to check up on from yesterday, so congrats to them. All right, let's get back in the chat here for a minute. We got a lot of good talks. Ooh, there's a Fluharty at bat versus Aranda. See, I checked the chat. I'm willing to work with you. All right, let's watch it. 5 pitches. First pitch sweeper in the shadows. Good freaking luck, Aranda. This is a horrible situation to hit in. And he always wears the shades, so you know he's domed up when he's going no shades. First pitch sweeper. So you're telling yourself, I got to swing at something that starts in. And then this pitch buzzes in. So this is very uncomfortable. This cutter in. Cutter. Really, it's a fastball. Cutter again. Again, he's looking for a breaking ball here, 100%. Ooh, and he just keeps peppering cutters at him. Now he hasn't seen a sweeper in a while. Here it comes. This one's going to be nasty, I bet. Ooh, dirty. And that was bases loaded. Great at bat. Great pitch. Great pitch here by Fluharty. And don't get it slept on. This guy's gotten some huge outs this year. Huge outs this year. Look at him firing up the crowd, too, walking off. Oh, let's go. Firing him up. I love it. So, good pull there. Thank you for that. That was great. All right, what else we got? So much emotion from Kirk. You never see that emotion from him. I love it. I love the emotion this time of year. It's so genuine. These guys have been grinding. Now they finally get the fruits of their labor. They're in the playoffs. You get that second wind. Nothing better than playoff baseball. Nothing more exciting than driving up to the ballpark knowing it's going to be packed out. And it's all on the line. So cool. And I did catch the other day when Springer was complaining about the umps favoring the Yankees to win the division. Well, there were some pretty brutal calls, to be fair, at that time. It's a little crazy to be calling conspiracies out in the middle of the game, but I did see that. I thought that was funny. Bo Bichette's a big deal for the Jays. Is he going to be healthy at all? Looks like that's a big up-in-the-air situation for the Jays a little bit. They're fine defensively because Jimenez will slide over and play short, and he's amazing. But hitting-wise, they need their Bo if they're going to probably put up the offense they need against some of the elite pitchers in the playoffs. Spector's talking about we can't believe Kershaw won't be in the playoff roster. I'm a little sad about that too. As a guy who's been left off a playoff roster before, twice, once last year in the CS, which hurt my soul very, very much, and then once in 2017 where I wanted to go do some physical altercations with some people. But I did it because that's not what you do. You just have to sit there and support your team no matter what. All right, I can see why Steve didn't make the Hall given the time period he pitched in, but gosh, growing up, he meant everything to me as a Jays fan. This is a great comment. I love that. Dave Steve, there's that YouTube documentary, if you don't know about it. It's pretty long, but it's pretty impressive. Shows how he's overlooked and really good. Kind of invented the sweeper, too, in a lot of ways. So big respects to Dave Steve out here from me, of course. They've been a bit hush-hush about Bo, but he's hitting, but no live BP are running it. That's not a great sign. Not a great sign. Okay, anything else from yesterday? We have an Otani home run, which we watched for number 55, breaking his own record. Is that the club record? I believe it is. It's also just amazing because he smashes the crap out of this ball to dead center. Off Spire, who's a pretty nasty lefty. Let's watch this hold at bat. Sinker in, good pitch. 95, 90s. I mean, this is two sinkers back-to-back are really, really good pitches here to Shohei, especially this second one. This is filthy and perfect location. So that's 0-2, and then he's going to go four-seam. Interesting that this doesn't work. Well, you know what? He missed with it just a touch lower, and I think that was the key. Also highlighting here that he doesn't have quite as much vertical separation as some other guys do between their pitches, so let me demonstrate that for a second. So this sinker has VB of 10. I'll replay the pitch. And he misses it, and he's under it. Okay. Second pitch, sinker again, this time VB of 9. IVB, I should say, of 9. And he takes it, and it's dotted up. So this pitch is at the very top of the zone, and those two pitches were 10 and 9 induced vertical break, respectively. This pitch right here is 14. Now, it's more, but it's not crazy more. So if you miss down, it almost negates that difference. And that's what ends up happening here. He misses down with it a little bit. Now it's still in the zone and up in the zone, but it's not as high as the previous two pitches. And that's where I think Shohei's now geared towards the top of the zone. And since this isn't like an 18 ball or something, it's just not able to get over. You know, the other pitch was a little bit higher, so this pitch ends up a little lower, and this is the pitch he can handle. And also, it's just Shohei Otani, and he's that fucking good, so. Kaboom. How hard he hit this? 109.5 at 32. Only gets out by like 2 rows, showing you how hard it is to go to center there. But really, really nice. Here's the Shohei from the side again. Man, we've been watching it all year, and it never gets old. It's a simple swing. It's a powerful swing. And it's a legendary swing, really, at the end of the day. Another huge day for him. He's a slam dunk NL MVP for me. It's not even close. You combined with what he did on the mound. It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. We're going to watch the Judge homer as well and the Yankee stuff. And then we'll watch Trout, and then we'll get into some of the preview stuff. Yeah, that's the first ever 55 home run season in a Dodger uniform, which I agree. It's hard to believe a little bit. Now, Shohei ends up this year leading the league in slugging and OPS in the National League, as well as OPS plus, total bases. He's going to win his 3rd MVP in a row and his 4th in 5 years, where he finished runner-up that other year because Judge hit the 62 homers. The WAR number is 6.6 offensively, but let's not forget about his pitching. He also pitched. How do I find his pitcher page? Standard pitching. Then he also goes with another 1.1 WAR on the mound, contributes 47 innings with a 1.90 FIP. So he's my slam dunk lock as MVP once again in the National League, and I think he should be. He's a freak. He's a beast. All right, before we head over to the Yankees and watch their home runs, and then we'll watch Trout, we'll answer a few questions in the chat or whatever we got here. Talking about Steve, there was a year where he led in basically every category and finished 7th in the Cy Young. Yeah, there's especially back in the day, there was so much bias for certain clubs, and you could get away with that in the media. You weren't held accountable at all, so Blue Jays weren't getting any benefit of the doubt. Do I think anyone gets fired of the Mets coaching staff? I'd be stunned if not. I'd be stunned. But again, that's not my job. We'll let the beat writers, we'll let Andy Martino and all the guys from the Post and the Daily News and Will Salmon and these guys figure it out that cover the Mets, and then we'll just see. We'll just watch it out. We'll watch how it progresses. Obviously, I have a lot of friends in that staff that I think are great, and it's not really their fault, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Heads are going to roll after an outing like this. Nick Kurtz also hit a bomb and finished the season with OPS above 1,000. That is amazing. 1,000 OPS from a rookie. Very, very good. All right, let's head over to the Yankees. Yankees and who'd they play? The Orioles? Because I didn't watch hardly any of this. So we have a Judge dinger. No, this is not it. Yeah, they play Baltimore, right? We have Rice hitting 2 homers. Rice hit the 2 homers. That was what happened. Yeah, all right, let's watch Ben Rice's 2 homers yesterday. The first was an ambush off of Bradish. This is a huge factor for the Yankees. This guy right here is going to hit likely in front or behind Judge within 1 or 2 spots in the batting order. They're probably going to cheat him into the game a lot because of his bat compared to Wells. It's a little bit stronger, especially in the expected ways, and I feel like that they're going to count on that to show up. This guy's been a great pickup, great player development story for the Yanks, and he goes 2 homers in a huge game. If the Blue Jays lose, this would have been a clinching game for the division. Here's one on a 19 ball up and away. And as you guys may or may not know, left center in Yankee Stadium is a freaking graveyard. 399 to that gap. It's about as deep as anywhere in the big leagues. And he takes it out left center. The boys love it. This is a hell of a swing. And this is also similar to the swing we saw of Kirk, where he kind of hits it and his weight comes with him. Man, nice swing. A lot of power behind this Ben Rice. So good job there. And the Yankees kind of rolled from there. They were able to hold off. All their big relievers got work in, which I think is important because these are the main 4. Cruz, Weave, Williams, and Bednar. These are the main 4. Obviously, there's others, Duvall, Hill, that are going to contribute. But these are the guys that are going to want on the mound in every big moment of these playoffs. And they all got to work yesterday which I think is great because now they're going to get a little bit of time off. So it's good to pitch as close as you can to your next important outing, in my opinion. Be sure at some point to look at the game De Leon threw yesterday. The guy was basically sitting on a beach in Puerto Rico the day before he got that game. I love that. Yeah, he's been around forever. He used to be a big prospect, actually, at one point. And he did a good job for the Red Sox. You know, this is similar to, I can remember some other games in my career. Oh. Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, it's rare, but guy comes in and he just wears it. He only gave up 3 runs, so good job by him. But he pitched like, whatever he did, 6 2/3 or something for the Red Sox. That was pretty cool. Hadn't pitched in the big leagues in 2 years. Wasn't doing very well, but came up and got the job done. Got to hang out with the boys for the day. So that's very nice. Yeah, and the Guardians got the momentum, quote unquote, with the back-to-back walk-offs. Yeah, I like Rice a lot. I think he's one of the better Yankee hitters. So that's big. All right. Trouty homered. So in typical Trout fashion, it seems, he does awful lot of stuff when it doesn't seem to matter. And it just sucks because they have not been able to put a winning club around him. But he did finish the year on a pretty good high note. Gets this one at bat versus McCullers, so let's watch it. And he does clip him, and then I think he gets removed from the game. Yeah, no hitters this year. We had a couple close calls. Got within 1 strike of one, but nope, didn't happen.
25 homers for the year. This has been his most work put into a season.
All right, 2-0. McCullers trying to climb back into it. 2-1 change up here. And we get to 3-1. I'll try the sinker. Oof, that's Mike Trout's wheelhouse there. Fouls it off. Here comes another one. This time it's a 4-seam. Just middle. Mike Trout does not miss middle, folks. 111 at 27. He finishes the year very, very well, which is a good sign for him and for Trout fans. He's creeping towards some big milestones coming up here. Can he keep it going? Can he get healthy next year? Can the Angels put a better team around him? These are all questions. And once again, we'll watch the swing. It's a carbon copy. Every time that Trout swings the same. It's quick, it's late, and rotational power. Wham! Usually it's middle, medium height to low height. And kaboom right there. All right, now let's watch Kurtz. Who did the A's play? Not the Angels. The A's played... the Royals. So Nick Kurtz. We're scraping the bottom of the barrel here, but we should note Nick Kurtz. He's my AL Rookie of the Year, no question about it. What a freaking year for this guy. Basically, Jim Tomei reincarnated, and he's gonna hit a home run off Sammy Long on a 2-pitch at bat.
It's just been really nice to see the extra
Ball away. Oh, that's another oppo shot. He's unbelievable with these oppo shots. It allows him to do a unique thing where he clears the hips out, so he's ready to beat you on the inside, but he can lag the barrel and still take you out to the backside. He does it once again. This is unbelievable. Just the fact that he goes oppo on these, and these left-on-left sinkers are a new challenge that he's been encountering the last few weeks at the big league level. I'm sure he didn't see much of this his whole life growing up. But he takes it the other way. How hard he hit that? 112.7. So he's unbelievable, man. Up doing his big Amish celebration, coming around. This is a hell of a rookie year. Hell of a rookie year. Let's go look at Nick Kurtz's final statistics on the year in the Savant world. Pretty damn good place to end up. 290 with 1,002 OPS, 36 pumps. Didn't even start the year in the big leagues. The expected numbers are outstanding. Obviously, watch out if he can clean up his whiff and K percentage. Watch out, because that's the only thing holding him back. And honestly, his squared up percentage is weird because he's not even hitting them as good as he could, and yet you see the results. They're pretty damn good. Fielding, he hasn't been great. but the hitting has been just absolutely unbelievable. And you see all these home runs to the opposite field. That's kind of the special talent here. There's not a lot of pull side balls, but I wouldn't change this swing at all. He'll probably catch some breaking balls out front in the coming years, but I love him being an opposite field hitter. So he's my Rookie of the Year. So right now we have the ones that are easy. We got NL MVP Shohei, American League Rookie of the Year Kurtz, National League Cy Young Skeens. Those are easy. American League Cy Young we should look at right now before we get into watching Crochet versus the Yankees. So let's just break down Crochet. Now that it's the end of the season, I don't care to look at Savant for this. I care much more to look at Baseball Reference because this is about what actually happened, not what should have happened, in my opinion. So obviously it's going to be between Tarek and then between Mr. Scoobs and Mr. Crochet. So Crochet finishes with 6.3 WAR, gets to 205 innings with 255 strikeouts, 1.028 WHIP, 18-5 and 32 starts, 259. Scooble 6.6 WAR, so a little bit more Baseball Reference WAR, less wins, better ERA, less innings, less strikeouts, way better WHIP. This is really tight. This is really, 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 really tight. I do think that the WHIP and the walks are more impressive, obviously, for Scooble. He had 33 walks at 195 and a third. Crochet ends up with 46 walks and 205 and a third. So that's 2 walks per 9. Scooble's at 1.5 walks per 9. So that's better. Hits per 9, 6.5 for Scooble, 7.2 for Crochet. Scooble was a little harder to hit and a little harder to get on base against. But he did throw less, a little bit less, in the same amount of starts, right? No, 1 less start. So he gets 1 less start. It would have been awfully close. 10 less innings. First of all, big props to Crochet for doing this, by the way. 205 innings. Just take a look at the innings pitched the previous years. 6, 54, doesn't play. 12 and 2/3, and then he goes 146, 205. This was my biggest concern coming into the year. Will he actually be able to do this? And he did it, and he's got plenty in the tank from what we see. And he's about to face the Yankees. So huge credit to that Red Sox training staff, everybody over there, and Crochet himself for taking it seriously and figuring out how to be that horse, man. 32 starts? Eesh. So he has the most strikeouts. He ended up with what, 255? Scooble, this is an awfully close race, guys. 255, Scooble got 241. It's about a 1-start difference. The whip, though, the whip is hard to ignore. 0.891 whip from Scooble this year. Sheesh. His numbers are arguably better than last year when he won the Cy. Hmm. 7.3 strikeout to walks this year. It's hard to argue that Scooble wasn't a little bit better on a rate basis, but Crochet has a little bit more bulk here. God, this is a really hard one. Really hard one. I'm going to put it in the poll, and I'll put it in the poll here, which we already see. We have 66% of the people have the Red Sox. So we're going to end this poll. We're going to start another one, and I'm going to start looking at the other ones because I'm not sure. All right, I'm putting that poll up, Scooble and Crochet, and we'll see what people have. Because years ago, and Maya's right about this with the innings discrepancy, it's probably not enough to really completely tilt it. But I remember years ago when they gave it to Corbin Burns over Zach Wheeler, it really bothered me because Zach Wheeler had like 40 more innings than him. And I just think that's so valuable, regardless if the rate stats were slightly worse. But this is only 10 innings, so it's close. Curious what everybody here in the chat's gonna say, but I'm gonna switch gears to the National League Rookie of the Year. So it's between Drake Baldwin and Cade Horton, right? Now these are two very different positions. Drake Baldwin ends up with a 3.3 WAR in the year, hits 274 with 19 and an 810 OPS. See how he looked on defense. Wow, 7 blocks above average, below average on throwing runners out, pop time's about average. That doesn't really matter in this case. So that's Drake Baldwin, and then we'll stick here to look at Cade Horton, who's now hurt, which really hurts the Cubs. We didn't talk about that yet, but he ends up going 11-4 with a 2.67 and 118 pitches. Man. Pitchers historically don't get rewarded as well in the Rookie of the Year. I believe that's correct. Let's see here. How much WAR does he have in Baseball Reference? Only 2 WAR, so it has Baldwin way ahead of him in WAR. I was going to say I thought it was a little closer, but let's see if we can find Rookie of the Year award winners recently. How often? So last year was 2 pitchers. The year before we got hitters. Devin Williams won it in 2020. Hitters in 19, hitters in 18, hitters in 17. Michael Fulmer got one in 2016, but he had a 5.4 WAR. Correa, Bryant are hitters. Abreu, DeGrom was a 3.5 WAR. So there's really no precedent for a guy with under 3 WAR to win Rookie of the Year as a pitcher. So I'm tempted to go Drake Baldwin in this case. I don't see any precedent for that since Craig Kimbrell 2011, but that's a little different because he's a closer. And Neftali Feliz 2010, also closers. So I'm going to say I think Drake Baldwin's going to probably win this award, although we do have 2 pitchers last year, Luis Heel and Paul Skeens, but they had 3 WAR and 5.9 WAR respectively. So I'm going to go ahead and lock in my pick as Baldwin. It would have been Cade Horton because Cade Horton doesn't make it there from WAR, but he had a hell of a year, guys. 2.67 ERA and 22 starts, 118 innings pitched for a playoff team. Baldwin didn't do it for a playoff team, but I'm still going to pick Drake Baldwin. So American League Rookie of the Year, Nick Kurtz. National League Rookie of the Year, Drake Baldwin. American League Cy Young, still ruminating on. American League MVP now we have to ruminate on. That's the really hard one because we have National League MVP and National League Cy Young decided, in my mind, Skeens and Otani. So now it all comes down to this. It's Judge and it's Cal. There's been the most debated thing in a while. Judge ends with a 1.145 OPS. He's had 3 straight years over 1,000 OPS. Cal Raleigh. I mean, this is such a tough one to judge because obviously offensively he's nowhere near Judge. Even with a 948 OPS and 60 homers, it's almost a 200-point difference. It's 197-point difference in OPS. Judge's 4th 50-home run season. You'd have to tie the vote. I know, Spectre. I know it's tough. Now, looking at it defensively, Cal played in how many games this year? I mean, shit, he had 705 plate appearances this year. Holy cow. I'm trying to see what the, you can't give him the full credit for their pitching staff. So it's 7.3 WAR. I know Judge crushes him in WAR on reference. Yeah, Judge is at 9.7. Cal's at 7.3. So he has to make that up with the fact that reference basically doesn't take any catching into account when they calculate their WAR. All right, so we need more pages here. We need to look at statistics, team pitching, and where did Seattle end up? Seattle ends up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11th in WOBA. In ex-WOBA, they are about the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So they got about what they deserved. 11th in WOBA, 12th in ex-WOBA. They were a division winner. Yankees played the same amount of record as the other division winner, Blue Jays. You got to give him some level of credit for catching this pitching staff that put up, the 11th best pitching season this year. And then Obviously, some of these starters individually had big years, but I don't know how you cover 2.5 WAR. God, it's so hard. I'm definitely going to have to put this up as a poll as well. This is such a hard one. +7 on framing. That makes a big difference between caught steals and framing. There's a lot of value added there behind the plate. And now I know Judge doesn't get the opportunity to add that at all. So how do you weigh that in? I saw a couple of articles where if you value the catcher stuff, it really ups the value of all the catchers. So you'd have a lot more catchers in the top 10 MVP. Like even like Alejandro Kirk would probably be moving up into there. Let me just see. Because this guy ended up having a really good year, but he's only valued at 2.3 WAR offensively. But 769 OPS, and then he was incredible defensively. It's hard to ignore the 200 points of OPS for Judge. It really is. But this guy, if you look at him on the defensive spectrum, 100th in blocking, 98th percentile in framing, above average in every stat back there. So that had a huge impact on their staff as well. So again, like if you're going to do this, then you have to say every catcher's undervalued relative to everybody else when you look at WAR. I would say at the moment I'm leaning Judge. I would be waiting for a little bit more of a direct explanation of how Raleigh would pass him in overall value, but I acknowledge it's razor thin. Razor thin. Yeah, I know that they take into account framing, but there's also pitch calling and there's other stuff. It's not just framing. There's other things that the catcher, like handling the whole staff, guiding those guys through things, is something that Judge just doesn't have the opportunity to do. So it's a little bit of an issue. Where are we at in this poll? We got Scooble 63%, Crochet 27% for now. Eek. Man, that's a tough one. That is a really, really tough one. All right, let's continue to think about that, and let's start preparing for the next series. So the first big one that we have, and the first game is tomorrow night, it's Crochet versus the Yankees. He ended up making, let's see, 3 or 4 starts versus the Yankees. I already have Crochet up here. Well, I did. So overall this year versus the Yankees, by opponent, he ended up pitching 4 starts. 27 innings, 3-0. 4 starts, 27 innings, 20 hits, 10 runs, 10 earned, 5 homers, 4 walks, 39 strikeouts for a .878 whip on the year. So Crochet threw really, really well against them, but I think it's better to look at some of the matchups individually. So let's try to find all the times that they squared off this year. So Yankees, Red Sox, and we're looking for the first Crochet game of the year, which is right here. So wait, that's 1 and 2. Just making sure we have 3 and 4. Okay. So they didn't really square off until June was the first one. And I just want to watch all of the at-bats, I think, versus Judge, because this is really going to define some stuff that we see next year, that we see tomorrow, not next year, tomorrow. Yeah, I'm picking Drake Baldwin, Daniel Brown at this point. All right, Aaron Judge, first at-bat of the year versus Crochet. So let's just watch. I think overall we're going to see he kind of goes at him with a lot of fastballs up.
And still does with 21 home runs on the year.
So fastball, Judge is late and under this one.
As anybody in the world has. And you know, you could say that this
Another fastball, so triple fastballs going towards in.
makes them all look small.
That's a changeup. And then another fastball for the swinging strike. So first at bat, he basically bullies him with fastballs. That up and away swing through is a little bit of a theme that we will see over time. All right, second at bat, Crochet Judge. Another fastball up in. This time he gets balled, even though that was a strike.
Just are patient, mechanically sound.
Middle.
I would throw a right-hander against the New York Yankees.
So, well, that's a terrible call, but that's the makeup for the first two. So, first two at-bats here, definitely showing Judge early. I'm going to come at you with fastballs.
Struck him out on a fastball away.
Yep, still late on it. And you can see he's frustrating. He's a little frustrated on this one. You can see in the body language, he's like, man, what's up with this fastball that it's beating me? And then he ends up, once he gets him on the fastball, he's able to get him with the sweeper here. Looking, really good pitch there. So far he's leading heavy fastballs. And then he goes off speed late. Here's the third at bat. Fastball middle. Another swing and miss. Fastball up ball. Another fastball. Take strike. And then he's going to triple up on the fastball. So this time he punches him with a heater. That up. So Judge way under his fastball. Something about the combination of the two in that first at-bat, this first matchup gets him way under the fastball. All right, second start of the year for Crochet versus the Yankees is this one right here. So first at-bat, first game, he dominates some 3 strikeouts. Mostly fastballs, 1 sweeper in there, 1 changeup in there. All right, second time through, and this one's at Fenway, and he starts out with all heaters again. Man, that's a strike. Gets balled. There's the first cutter. So a 2-0 cutter. I thought he was going to shy away from the cutter the whole time. Cutter to Judge in zone seems like a home run waiting to happen. Now he's back to the fastball. Pulls it in. So 3-1 challenge heater here. Gets it to that up and away. And this quadrant right here, Judge has shown no ability to this point to get to. So if Garrett can stay right there, he seems to be ahead of the game on Judgy. And he's going to punch him out here for a 4th time. So first 4 at-bats of the year, 4 punchies. 3 of them are on up fastballs. 1 was on a backdoor sweeper looking. Next at-bat, he's going to punch him out a 5th time in a row, this time on 3 straight pitches. So this time, Judge is dead red on a fastball because he's seen so many fastballs. Makes sense. Crochet's a step ahead of him. Comes with the cutter. Looks like it's a heater. Gets under the bat for strike 1. Now he's going to return to fastball. Middle. Judge guessing a little bit here. So he's got in his head early with all these with these pitch selections. And then once again, another fastball up. This one's in. Takes it for the called strike 3. So 5 at-bats, 5 strikeouts. Let's make it 6 at-bats, 6 strikeouts. Man, Crochet was doing work. I know it flips eventually, but my God. Fastball up. Basically challenging him to hit fastballs up and just sprinkling the other pitches in there a little bit. Up in, Judge has the perception that those balls are way in on him, but they're not. There's the first mid-count sweeper we've seen, and he drops it in on the back door. 2-1. 98-8 here, so he's trying to pump up here for the strikeout again. Judge fouls it away, but he gets him here. So 6 at-bats, 6 strikeouts. First 6 times they face him, including fanning him on an up and away spot. I would say 4 of the 6. 1 was a caught looking on a backdoor sweeper. 1 was a caught looking on an up-in fastball. But he has shown no ability to this point to cover the up and away heater. So that's the trend we should keep our eye on. And then finally, Judge just does get him in this at-bat. This is the 9th inning. Crochet was in there for the whole Wago almost, and they get a 7-pitch lockup here. Fastball up ball. Here's the 1-0 cutter. Now this was a 1-0 game. So he's only thrown him 2 cutters in the first 7 at-bats. Both of them have been when he assesses that Judge is dead red on a fastball, and then he's swept them in to that down-in spot and gotten under the bat. So he's presenting that like that pitch is coming middle, and then sweeping it in. And it's 95, so that's a nice equalizer there for Crochet. Comes another fastball. Judge still definitely on the heater. He's early on that pitch, and that pitch is coming in. So he has them all set up for a 7th strikeout here. He's going to try that up and away again. That's what's been working. Yep, there's the target. This time Judge with a good take. Takes are key. Here comes a pure 100-mile-an-hour pitch. This one he could handle, though, but interesting that he's still not on this fastball. This is the most hittable pitch. I would say that he's swung at in the first 7 at-bats. Then another fastball. This time they go to the up-in. Just overcooks it a little bit and resets himself for 3-2. And this time he finally gets him. Down in. So it's the most hittable spot. And Judge still, to me, hasn't proven that he can hit that up and away. Even though he demolished this ball. 115.5 to tie it up. And it's just a matter of time until Aaron Judge gets you. And this was a crazy moment. But he had punched him out the first 6 times. It's the 7th at-bat that this ball gets the down-in spot in the zone, and he's all on it. All right, that's the first 2 matchups. Now we go to the next one. Another great performance by Crochet and more strikeouts of Judge. So this is at-bat number 8. It is 6 strikeouts and a homer so far. The homer came on a down in. Everything that's been up has been safe. Sweeper down, swing through. Also, Judge definitely on the fastball firmly, I would say, because a lot of swing and miss on mid-count off-speed as well. And there's that up and away spot. So as long as Garrett... Crochet has been getting to this area late in the count. It's been game over. The mistake he made is when he threw it in the nitro zone right in here, and he made another mistake over here. But as long as he's been on the top rail so far, it's been all Crochet. So that is 7 strikeouts and 1 homer. Next at-bat, strikes out again. So it's going to get him for an 8th time. This is unbelievable. I didn't realize it was this overwhelming. Cutter in, so first pitch cutter. This is the 2nd time. Now he throws another cutter. He knows he's got him on the fastball. If you're Judge, you have no choice but to be glued in on fastball. You're getting beat by fastballs. Here's a backdoor cutter, so Judge not looking for that. He's fine taking it. We go to 1-1. Now a sweeper. This is probably the first at-bat. This is definitely the first at-bat. We've seen him, Crochet, that is completely switched to a backwards approach. Cutter, cutter, sweeper. Judge clearly still on the fastball as he's way ahead of this sweeper on actually a pretty good pitch to hit.
That's right, with the straight leg.
Another sweeper. So goes all off speed this time. Judge out front on that. Ooh, almost gets a double there. Let's see if he goes back to the fastball. No, so this time Crochet says, I'm going to screw you up a little bit by going all off speed, including a really nice changeup, which only the 2nd changeup he's featured to Judge in the first, I don't know, what are we at, 9 at-bats now? But it's 8 strikeouts and a homer. This is a pitch that I think he will use when he feels like Judge is firmly on the fastball. This will be a 2-strike attempt. Changeup down here. Gets him out front. So Judge kind of gave it away a little bit with how early he was on some of those foul balls. Finally, not a strikeout, and it looks like Judge just had enough of striking out and was going to put the ball in play. So here is the 10th at-bat between the two. It's a fastball in. Ooh, good pitch to hit. Misses it down and away. Almost a home run. So it seems pretty simple here. To this point, I would say Crochet owns everything in this top of the zone and north. When he throws off-speed pitches and they get to this area, he's great. And also on the back door. But when he throws any type of mistake in this middle down quadrant, it belongs to Aaron Judge. He just hasn't done it a lot. So let's keep an eye on that. But this ball is almost hit for a homer, and it's just a small mistake. Mistake in the zone. But, you know, mistakes are going to get made, and hopefully for Crochet and the Red Sox, it's not at the wrong time this series, because Judge is not going to miss those. All right, so that was the only at-bats that game, and then there's one more. Just came the other day. And another strikeout. Did he strike him out 10 times this season? That's amazing. And there it is again, the up and away swing through. Sweeper on the back of that. Down comes a cutter. So as we've gone on in this matchup this year, he's been a little more forthcoming with the off-speed pitches in the mid-count. Judge has been clearly on the fastball timing after the first 5 at-bats of this matchup this year, where he just tried to bully him. But that's also a really good location on that cutter, getting it in off just a bit. and then he's going to go sweeper off that. So good tunnel there usually. Cutter to sweeper. Good combination, good sequence, whatever you want to call it. This is nice, and this is a weird sweeper. This has negative 6.6. This drops like a slurve, and you can see it visually. This ball really, really drops. So I still think Judge is dead red on the fastball. Crochet can use the off-speed pitch to his advantage, and then he can tease Judge with up and away fastballs anytime he wants. And he's going to punch him out yet again. This time it's a sinker, so that's the first sinker we've seen. This is a pitch that he didn't throw much until the second half of the year. And what you do here is, you know the guy's dead red on a fastball, so you try to run something that looks like it's going to be in that happy zone middle away, but then it ends up running off the corner, and that's what happens here. This fastball looks like it's going to go to the happy zone and just stays away. Judge swing and miss. Changeup off that. So this is the third time we've seen him utilize changeup. That was a good pitch, but it's a ball, and definitely Crochet has switched to a kick changeup. You can see on the metric, this is a full kick. So every Red Sox pitcher is now using a kick changeup. -4 vert, not as much horizontal. Dead giveaway with the low spin rate, 900 RPM. So Crochet is armed with a new kick change, and you can see this has a nice little movement to it. Good take by Judgy, but it's another weapon. And now he's going to come to a sinker. So interesting here. 4 seams all day long, and then now finally in this last start of the year, giving him some sinkers. So interesting to watch this matchup progress over the course of the season. Goes for the freeze there, just misses it, and he's going to end up getting him on a sweeper. Judge has been nowhere near the off-speed pitches when they go for chase. Yep, that's been the location that he's looking for on the sweepers and on the cutters. He wants the cutters to get in here, and he wants the sweepers to get in down here because he wants you to think that he's rushing you with a fastball in. So when Crochet's on the mound, I think you go right at Judge still. He's definitely still overwhelmingly winning this battle, I would say. Here's the second home run. So this is Judge's second hit. It's a first pitch. Let's see what he gets him on. It's a fastball. Let's see the location. It's pretty much the same as the other homer. It's just not high enough. And Judge has now shown an ability to be on the ambush against Crochet. He's like, if you're going to pound me with fastballs early and I know that I can't cover your fastball up late, I'm looking for that pitch. I'm looking for that pitch middle away that I can handle early. So both home runs are to the opposite field. They're both on fastballs in the same type of location. And that's it. That's the last time they faced each other. So to sum it up once again, Crochet absolutely dominated him with fastballs early and forced Judge to get on fastball timing for the rest of this season. If he had his preference, he wants him to swing at pitches here, fastballs there, and he wants him to take fastballs in here. Or if he gets swing on the inner rail, then he's going to utilize that cutter off the plate in, and then your sweeper way down here in the kill zone and below the zone with a little bit of back door. The nitro zone, the only area he's trying to avoid, and we'll do this in black, is right in this area. So in the zone, middle down with fastball. The off-speed pitches, he's gotten away with it a little bit because Judge has been so much on fastball. So I think going into this matchup, which is going to be crucial because Crochet is going to go at Judge, and let's be honest, Judge is a lot of the Yankee offense. He's got to watch out for the first pitch ambushes on fastballs that are down in the zone. And I think Judge is going to be looking to hit those. I also think he's going to still have Judge on fastball timing throughout this whole thing. So look for a big off-speed attack in a big moment and see if Judge is ahead of that. See if Judge is ahead of him switching his plan up. But overall, big advantage Crochet despite the 2 home runs. Bottom line, stay out of the down part of the strike zone. If you stay up, you're pretty safe. So that's a great matchup. That's something that's going to maybe define Game 1 tomorrow night in Yankee Stadium. And, it's always interesting because as much as Crochet has ultimately dominated this matchup despite the 2 home runs, you can throw all that out the window a little bit because it's just one game. Judge comes through with that right swing at the right time, and that'll make a huge difference. So that was the first matchup I wanted to check up on Yankees Red Sox as we prepare for tomorrow night. That's going to be a big deal Now let's go ahead and let's look over at Max Fried. Has Max Fried pitched well versus Boston this year? Let's see. We'll just go game logs, and I'll look at his Red Sox starts. Opponent. Okay, Boston. So he had 3 starts versus Boston, a win and 2 losses. The first one was a loss. He goes 7 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts. So a very good outing there. And then he also pitches in a loss. He doesn't get the loss, but 6 innings, no runs in August at Yankee Stadium. 6 innings, no runs, 4 hits, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts there. And then he finishes up his year against Boston at Boston, 5 1/3, 9 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. So 9 hits is a little bit of a red flag. Obviously, the team wore down on him a little bit. You know what? Let's just go to it. This is Fried's most recent start versus the Yankees. I don't think it was this game, so let's look it up. You got to go the other direction so you can see what you're talking about. Yeah, Fried. I'm curious what the hits were. What did he give up hits on? Romy. So this is the other thing when you're a left-hander and you're facing the Red Sox, you're gonna get Romy, you're gonna get Refsnyder. I actually think with Roman Anthony out, they might skew a little better versus lefties. The Yankees have 2 lefties starting in the series in Fried and Rodon. Those are their main 2 guys. That could be a little bit of a Yankee concern. Does anybody else feel that way? Anyway, let's watch the hits that Fried's allowing versus the Red Sox hitters, just to get a sense of were they earned or were they a bit lucky. Good swing there by Romy. Then we got a Nick Sogard hit. Nick Sogard finding himself in that lineup in a big game here a couple weeks ago. Got jammed a little bit here, but that's a 1-2 hit, so I give credit. I give credit on both sides. Man, good throw out there. We got a Connor Wong double. This is kind of come on a changeup. Okay, so that was a 1-2 changeup. Connor Wong, better versus lefties as well. He still had a good game, though. Rafaela strikeout, Romy strikeout, Bregman pop-up, Story strikeout, Refsnyder strikeout. All right, Nate Eaton. Will he be on the roster? It's him or Hamilton, I believe. I don't think they're going to necessarily sit Yoshida. It's a good question in the chat, Shooter, because he's been so hot. He's been by far, him and Rafaela have been their best hitters over the last week. I think I'd be tempted to play Yoshida. So that's an infield hit. Nothing to see there. There's a Rafaela hit. I mentioned Rafaela's been pretty hot the last week of the season. Cutter middle all over that. Good swing there. Here's a Bregman home run. Let's watch the whole at-bat for the Bregman home run. Because at this point, Fried's pitching with a 4-0 lead. So sinker away. Cutter up. Oh, outruns his arm on the backdoor fastball attempt, and then he's going to try to double up and probably pull it in the middle. Yep. Ooh, this is the pesky pole home run. So I'm going to split the difference here and say it was a bad pitch, but also unlucky for it to be a home run. Yeah, ref wouldn't play if Yoshida's in there. I agree with that, but I don't know. What's AC going to do? Do you ride Yoshida, who's super hot, or do you stick with the matchups that you believe in? Because refs are really good righty versus lefties. So there's a hit, and then we have a Nick. Then we have 3 hits to end this game. Nate Eaton. Another infield hit. So I'm not seeing a ton of hard contact in this game versus Max, to be honest with you, in terms of these hits. So I think this will be a fun matchup. I give the advantage to Crochet in Game 1. He's been the better pitcher this year. I think he matches up a little better versus the Yankees than Fried will versus the Red Sox. But that's not to say Max can't go out there and pitch a great game. He certainly can, and he's a big game pitcher in my mind. But yeah, some of these guys definitely got some pitches to hit and didn't miss. Started short. I'm going to guess Caballero starting at short for the Yankees tomorrow. What do you guys think about that? So that was a quick look at Fried in his last start. Yeah, he got hit a little bit with some base hits, 9 hits, and then the pesky pole home run. But overall, I thought it wasn't as bad as it looked. But I still give the edge to Crochet in this pitching matchup in Game 1. Let's see if we go to If I go to probables and then I skip a day, is that in here? I still don't have that up, but it's going to be Crochet Freed. Yeah, Crochet Freed. Now here we go. StatCast game preview. Obviously, they're awaiting starting lineup. So you guys think Volpe's going to start? I know it doesn't have to be his fault, but I think Caballero is going to get the start. I'd just be surprised if he didn't, just because it seems like that's the way they've been headed lately. I don't know. So we don't need any of this. You know, Fried was in that Cy Young race in the early going, and then he kind of faded out of it. Defensively, gotta love that Red Sox outfield, but the Yankees outfield's good as well. All right, so if you're the Red Sox, Romy's got to be in there. Obviously, Story will be in there. Bregman will be in there, assuming he's not sick. I've heard a little stuff about him being sick. But then you have a lot of lefties. Narvaez or Wong will be in there, but, you know, Duran, Abreu, Yoshida, Lowe. Rafael will be in there. I don't know who's... I think they have some decisions to make between Hamilton and Eaton for bench player, speed roll. Man, I don't know. And from the Yankees side, they'll probably run out there their Crochet offense. So Judge, Stanton. Does Slater or Rosario find their way in there? Or Goldschmidt? I don't know. And then the Volpe Caballero decision. Caballero chases even more than Volpe, 28.4% versus Volpe, 23.9%. First pitch swing, Caballero's more aggressive. Maybe that's been a good thing for him. Volpe's been a little too passive early. Whiff percentage is actually Caballero. Caballero might grade out as a worse hitter than Volpe. And then defensively, I actually think Volpe's a better shortstop, but it just feels like they've kind of switched their thought process a little bit on this. So that should be interesting. That is the first game to maybe look at. All right, we got this poll going here, and I want to switch the poll up a little bit. Looks like everybody is voting. We have 48 votes on this. 73% for Scooble, 27% for Crochet. I think I'm leaning Scooble as well right now, but it's pretty close. It's pretty close. Wells at catcher and Rice at first. I think Goldie gets in there against Crochet. I think he finds a way, and I think Rice catches. That's my guess. And then they have to play McMahon. McMahon won't hit off Crochet, I don't think, but you have to play him defensively. For the Red Sox, I would move Romy to first, sit low, move Cedon to second, and get Ref to... See, this is a pretty good configuration. Ref Snyder in left, Romy at first, Cedon at second, and then you can play, I guess, Duran in center, or you mix it up a little bit out there. It's a possibility. All right, let's look at some of these other matchups coming up. Detroit, Cleveland. So Scooble versus a TBA. Cleveland's going to be doing some crazy stuff on the mound. Who do you think gets the start? Do you think it is Gavin Williams or Tanner Bybee would be my two guesses. Now, did they both pitch recently? When's the last time Gavin Williams pitched? I think he's had enough time to be healthy in this game and ready to go. He's been probably their best guy lately. Gavin Williams and Tanner Bybee, I'd say one of those two. Williams, they saved him from the last game of the regular season. So it's going to be Williams versus Detroit and Scooble. They actually matched up the last time they pitched. So he just pitched versus... Didn't they just pitch? Oh, wait, this is the beginning of the year. All right, yeah. His last two starts against Detroit. And he pitched well in both of them. But that does make me a little nervous just from... I guess it's the same on the other side. 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts, no runs in that game. And then 6 innings, 2 runs, 2 walks, 12 strikeouts. So I feel pretty good about Williams matching up. And Cleveland had that crazy inning against Skubal where they did a bunch of bunting. I wonder if they try any of that in this situation. Yeah, Skubal's last 2 starts were also versus Cleveland. 6 innings, 7 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts, and then 6 innings, 3 runs in that crazy inning, but 1 earned, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts. These teams have just seen each other so much. So much. I'm still going to give the edge to Cleveland in this series because of the momentum factor and the home field factor. But Skubal, very good chance he goes in and just runs through him in this game 1. I don't know. This is a good series. Wonder who you guys have in this series, Detroit or Cleveland. Let's put a quick poll up there for that. All right, the poll's up, so we'll see what you guys think about that. Yeah, Volpe does have a good postseason stat line. That's one of the things I was thinking to myself a little bit when I was covering the Yankees a week ago. I was thinking, one thing about Volpe is he did play really well in the postseason last year, and there's much more upside in there than with Caballero. Volpe can do it. He can do big things up there in the right moments. So it'd be interesting to see how they handle this situation. Like if you start Caballero the first game and he goes like 0 for 4. You immediately jump ship to Volpe or vice versa. Are they on a 1-game basis? This is where the panic button really gets big. And for me, this is the most fun time of the year for managers. This is where managers make the biggest difference. How are they going to guide their team through short series scenarios, long series scenarios, different matchups, different challenges, overexposure, fatigue, guys who are scared, guys who will rise to the moment. You have to handle all of that in your brain. And especially at that time, I think the front office tries to even kick it in a little more with their suggestions. So you got to really have the full picture in your mind of what you want to do when you head into a series. All right, so now let's head back over here and let's look at... Geez Louise, I have so many things up here. Where's the other matchups? Oh, yeah, it's probably 2 back from here. All right, San Diego and Chicago. Pivetta versus... Who's it going to be for the Cubs? Are we talking... Hold on. Are we talking Boyd possibly in this game? So Nicky P has had a really good year, Nick Pivetta, and he's getting a lot of lefties. So I want to know how they are really on 4-seamers and curveballs. That's something I'd be looking at. Did he face the Cubs lineup this year? He did. Way back in April. Twice. First time. Pivetta did not last very long. Threw 76 pitches in 3 innings. But he is a gamer, and he's actually, yes, Shooter is correct. Remembering back to 21, he threw freaking awesome in the playoffs for the Red Sox. He wants the ball in big moments. I'll give him that. He used to annoy a lot of people in the bullpen that year. He would come out and he thought he was the closer right away. And everybody's like, dude, you have to earn that. But bottom line, the fact that he wanted to be the closer was impressive. So he got hit a little bit in this game. Gets clipped here by a Dansby home run. Let's see what this is. Not very good velocity. This is a freezing cold game. This game might be irrelevant.
In the air, center field, going back, Merrill turning, looking, out of here. Dansby swats it.
He did finish with a flurry, striking a couple guys out. So ends up being a 3-run outing.
Swing and a miss, struck him.
It's just interesting because this is his second time pitching in Wrigley this year. One time it's going to be freezing cold from the beginning of the year, and then we'll see what the weather is tomorrow night. And then the second time they face this year was, let's see, right after that, I believe. And this time, Pivetta went 6 innings. Doesn't look like as much happened here. Fly out, ground out, single, strikeout, pop out, ground out, strikeout, single, walk, single, sac fly, where's 1 run? And then this was a big double play. Suzuki's been hot. That's somebody to keep an eye on in the hot-cold department in this series. He's been really, really hot lately. Crushing changeups, making good adjustments on everything. Yeah, but he does a good job from here. So it looks like it's 1 run, pretty much. Yeah, ends up actually leaving with the lead in this game. So Pivetta, 1 kind of incomplete start and 1 very good start versus the Cubs this year. That's good to know. It's good to know. Also, that Padre bullpen, I think, is a big factor in this game. They definitely have a better bullpen than the Cubbies, right? Yeah, Marquee Sports had some video and showed that the Cubs can't hit velocity. Good luck against that bullpen. That's what I'm thinking. Cubs need to play out in front in this series. That would be very important. I do think the Padre rotation's a little bit of a concern. Who are they looking to throw in this series besides Pivetta? Is it going to be like a Darvish, a Cease? Is King getting back in there? I don't know about their rotation. Cubs rotation as well is taking a hit with Horner being hurt. You're going to get some combination of Imanaga, Boyd, probably Tyone, I would guess, for the Cubs. And then, you know, their bullpen, it's okay, but it's been, man, they've had so much turnover out there. Palencia's out. I mean, none of these guys matter anymore from the beginning of the season. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of what the Cubs are throwing out there. Let's look at the pitchers that they have at the moment listed. Kittredge, Imanaga, Taylor Rogers, Drew Pomeranz, Reyes, Soroka, Boyd, Savali, Assad, Tyone. I mean, good pitchers, but nobody that's scaring you. I give the edge to the Padres in this series slightly, even though it's in Wrigley. I think the Padres have the better club. Palencia's back. Okay, that's big. That's big. But I think I give the Padres the advantage if they can play out front. There's some huge X factors, though, in that Cubs offense. Obviously, PCA, will he swing at strikes? Will he get it going? Seiya's been hot. You know, I do like the know-how of a guy like Dansby in a big series like this. And on that other side, the Padres have been a little disappointing in the playoffs the last year or two, considering what they have going for them. So will that show up? Or will they have a good offensive performance? You know, Tatis, Machado, Bogarts, Cronenworth, Arise. I mean, these are important things to consider. But when you look at if you look at that Padre bullpen, though, they have some guys to be excited about. Why are we running out of Padre stuff here? I don't know. But that'll be an interesting series. We got a big vote headed Cleveland's direction here. 72% on Cleveland. 20% of Detroit. I think I'm leaning that way as well. So we'll just end that poll right there. And then we'll look at, we'll do one more. So I know everybody's going to vote Dodgers over Reds, but Cubs or Padres. And we'll have people vote in the poll here on that. And then our last game that will be coming tomorrow night is Dodgers Reds. Now I read that the Dodgers are going to probably go Snell here first game, and they continue to be a little coy. They tend to they're playing a little coy with the second game. Yamamoto, Otani. They already announced that Glasnow's out of the bullpen, which I think is interesting, and Kershaw's left off, which is sad, but I kind of get it. In the short series, he might poke his head back out there in the next series if they win. Yeah, and Hunter Green is the big X factor in game one. If he can come out there and throw the game that he needs to, they only have to scrap a few runs against that Snell attack. So maybe, you know, fight off some pitches, draw some walks, get one big swing, and you're kind of back in it. I don't love the Reds bullpen that much, but obviously you can't love the Dodger bullpen that much either. They were literally holding tryouts this last week for the bullpen. I do think it gets a little better with Sheehan in there now. Sasaki back in there, which is interesting. They did have the game the other day where they finished it with 9 strikeouts. So we'll see how their bullpen looks in actuality now that we're in the playoff time. But they have some underwhelming guys results-wise lately, you know, Trinan and Scott in particular. So Some things to worry about from the Dodgers side of things, but they are the favorite in this game. It just comes down to the fact that they are facing Hunter Green, who in game one, this could be this. You got to pay attention to this this first game, because right away this is an upset opportunity. With this guy on the bump. I mean, literally averaging 100 miles an hour basically on the season with put away slider, good split. How did the Dodgers fare against Hunter Green this year? Let's see if there was an at bat, if there was a game this year where he pitched against them. I believe he did, and maybe it didn't go that well. I don't know. Let's see. Dodgers, Reds. Yeah, they got him in this game. 825. How did he pitch? 99 pitches, 3 strikeouts. Got beat up a little bit. Let's see what the damage was done. We got a Mookie hit on a fastball.
They've been taking advantage of guys who want to nibble and then chase.
Mookie getting hot. Also, huge development for the Dodgers over the last month. They just can't win without him playing well, I don't think. And then Pages gets him for a homer. So this is the first run of the game. It's on a slider. You know, middle. Pages loves to extend out on those low pitches. Backspins that into the night. Then we got single, walk, double play, strikeout. This was a big strikeout to end the third. In this start, Hunter Green. I know Reds bullpen has been pretty good, but they've also had to pitch a ton to get through that September gauntlet. Pagan 4 in a row. Santillan feels like he's been in every game. I don't know. Do you feel great about the Reds bullpen? I don't, despite the results. And then this is where it got a little worse. Conforto with a double.
Lineup. So see if the bottom part can get them going again. That's a good start.
So if the Dodgers have their way, this would be exactly how they would draw it up. They throw a shutout on the mound. They're able to scratch a few off against Hunter Green and kind of pull away as the game progresses. That would be the blueprint. Yeah, 80 appearances for Santillan is amazing. Big credit for him. 80 is a number I never got close to. At 75 is my career high. Of course, I ended up with more 80 because I pitched in the playoffs, but 80 is half the games, basically, so that's big credit there. Also, look for him to stay away from the sliders to Pages if they match up again. You're going to see probably a lot more fastballs now that he got clipped on 2 sliders in this game, twice by Pages. And then Freddie gets him for a double here on a split. So overall, it's not a bad start, but they're going to need him to pretty much go zeros the whole way, or 1 run here and there, because it's expecting a lot out of the Reds offense to put up numbers against Snell, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the Hunter Green. That's how it looked versus the Dodgers earlier in the season. Did Snell pitch against the Reds? I know he threw a no-hitter against the Reds with the Giants, right, last year? We need Reds first here. Reds. Dodgers. So they did not see Snell this year, but they saw Snell last year and got no hits. So, okay, interesting that they haven't seen Snell this year. I'm going to give the edge to the Dodgers in game 1, despite I think Hunter Green actually maybe being the better pitcher right now than Blake Snell at the moment. I don't know. Probably this year he had a better overall performance, but I'm still going to give the edge to Snell based on they haven't seen him yet. Dodgers have familiarity with Hunter Green. They did a pretty good job. Daniel Brown giving us a little more info here on the Reds, and I think he's right. Martinez and Burns can be that 2-inning. They can be huge X factors for the Reds. You know, Burns is a starter by trade, so is Martinez, and those guys have electric stuff that can play up in a 1 to 3 inning role. They both now have pitched out of the bullpen quite a bit. Martinez has been doing it for years, but even Burns getting a little bullpen action as we ended the season. They could be big factors for the Reds in that series as well. But overall, a lot to look forward to coming into tomorrow. Let's see what else we got in the chat here. I could have started my MLB career had I lived in LA. Action Entertainments. As long as bullpen does their job, Dodgers shouldn't have any problem sweeping the Reds. Yeah, but you still gotta beat Hunter Green straight up. They're gonna have to get a 3 spot on Hunter Green is my thesis in game 1. So it could be interesting. I do like this matchup a little sneaky. It's tough though. All right. So those are the 4 games that are coming up tomorrow. It's going to be Detroit and Tigers at 1:08. That'll be pretty soon after our Baseball and Coffee tomorrow. So we'll talk more and more about matchups tomorrow leading into Game 1. And then we'll do Baseball After Dark, and we'll recap everything and watch everything that happened that mattered. And we'll also be on there live as the Yankee-Red Sox game ends and the Dodger-Reds game begins. So that'll be fun. But early action tomorrow. These are the 4 main games. It will be Detroit-Cleveland at 1:08, San Diego and Cubs at 3:08 from Wrigley. And then the 2 night games, obviously, they're going to put Yankees-Red Sox in prime time. And, of course, the Dodgers are the late game out in L.A. So, I don't know. It's going to be really, really good. Okay, so here's a question by Ray Santos in the chat. How about doing a live during a live game? So, because MLB doesn't have the license with YouTube, YouTube doesn't have the MLB license, we can't watch the game live on here while it's going. But I will be on doing it live. If you've tuned in at all for the Baseball After Darks, I'll have a board up that will basically be live pitch data that's coming in. And then we can switch over to the iPad to recap anything that happened. And at the same time, this will allow us to go and watch everything that mattered from the first 3 games while you guys in the chat are giving me updates about what's going on live. Maybe I'll bring a TV in here so I'll have the live game and I can see it off on the side. And I'll know when to dive in. But this will allow us to dive in and out of live, not live, and have plenty of stuff to talk about and discuss, in the chat throughout the night. But that's it for today. This has been a long Baseball and Coffee, kind of just going over some things, little chatting. There wasn't a ton of watching today, so I appreciate you guys hanging with me all day, all morning at least. And we're not going to get sued. We're all good. We have a partnership with them. There'll be lots of good things rolling out. You're going to see some Trevor May this week. You might see some DJ LeMahieu this week. You're going to see some other guys this week coming in and kind of co-hosting the show. We're going to be having conversations, getting into some things. JD Martinez is on the list. We're going to have some guys. So I'm going to be reaching out to people all day today and see what their schedules allow for. But be on the alert for 2 shows tomorrow, Baseball and Coffee in the morning, and then Baseball After Dark at night. Enjoy the playoffs tomorrow and getting excited for that. Enjoy the day off today to kind of regroup, reset. If you're a Mets fan, I'm sorry. It's a tough year, but this is part of being a fan sometimes. You get crushed, and now you have to pick up the pieces and look to be optimistic again next year. But no reason not to be optimistic. The Mets should make some changes, and they will start off fresh. And we'll see what happens. That's the intriguing thing about baseball and the old Brooklyn Dodgers saying, wait until next year. And yes, let's get me that ring. Go Yankees. I'm not hiding the fact that I would sneaky like them to win so I can get one of these. Little ring action. But ultimately, I don't care what happens. I just love baseball, and I'm excited to watch and track all this playoffs. So thank you guys for hanging me all day today on Baseball and Coffee. I'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, 10 a.m. And then we will be on again the following night. So I'll give you more updates tomorrow. I have a meeting at 1 o'clock today. I'll get a little more clarity on info, timing, and all that. And I'll hit that up probably in the post in my YouTube section and things like that in the posts section on my YouTube page. All right. Thanks again. Have a good one. Adios. See you guys later.